All right, here we go. So it says, I love you with an everlasting love. The human mind cannot comprehend my constancy. Your emotions flicker and falter in the face of varying circumstances, and you tend to project your fickle feelings onto me. Thus, you do not benefit fully from my unfailing love. You need to look beyond the flux of circumstances and discover me gazing lovingly back at you. This awareness of my presence strengthens you as you receive and respond to my love. I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. Let my love flow into you continually. Your need for me is as constant as the outflow of my love to you. And then I give some Bible verses to check out. Jeremiah 31:3, Exodus 15:13, and Hebrews 13:8. So I love that. You know, when it says our emotions go up and down and back and forth and feeling this way or that way, but he says, I am the constant. No matter what you're feeling, what your circumstances are, I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. So I love that reminder that no matter what's going on, we know that we have Jesus who's our constant in our life. And with all the hurricane craziness and all the madness, and I don't know if you saw my post from last night, the amount of homeless people around here in Phoenix is insane on every corner, and just the I don't know, it's the real city life down here. Let's just put it that way. And we had an opportunity to buy a homeless man, a bus ticket and get him on his way home last night to his family. He lives off the reservation, was a good hour and a half or so away. And he got here by ambulance, and he was pretty drunk, so it's kind of hard to totally understand what he was saying. But he was really, really thankful that that we got him a bus ticket and dropped him off at the bus stop so that he could get back to his 3 kids because his mom was watching them. So, you know, never miss an opportunity to share God's love with others. And, you know, my post was about how I think often like, oh, I don't want to give these people money. I don't want to help them because they're probably going to use it on, you know, more alcohol or drugs or whatever. And then I had to stop myself in my tracks and say, but that's not for me to judge nor think about. All God wants us to do is just, you know, help others, look for ways to be that helping hand for them, show others grace as we've been shown grace every single day. So it's amazing. It's just a different world down here. And there's a lot of need, a lot of help that's needed around, and it's totally big city atmosphere. So I encourage you to find ways to show love. And I even posted an October Pay It Forward calendar. It gives you ideas on how to give and pay it forward to people every day. Simple things like send a text message to, you know, a person and give them some encouraging words in a Bible verse and things like that. So check it out on my wall. And I encourage you to see how you feel every day when you're the one that's putting other people first and giving back, and how much more joy you find in that. Good morning, Becky Fenstermaker. She's on the go. Is she going to get her Starbucks, her green tea?
You know me all too well, Liz.
You're on your way back from getting it. Oh, I love it.
But we have Saturdays are busy mornings for us, so we have dance, and then I had to go to Office Max to get our flyers printed off for our vendor event that I organized for 2 Saturdays.
Awesome. Very cool. All right. Hey, Braylee. Good morning, darling. I can see her waving. All right, so let's dive into our book. This is the first 3 chapters for this first call, and we'll be done in 20 minutes. Okay, so we're just going to go right through it so you guys can move on with your days and enjoy whatever you're planning to do today. So I read the introduction. Hopefully you guys all did too. And John Maxwell, anything John Maxwell will be excellent for you to if you're on Amazon or you're at the bookstore. You know, if you see something John Maxwell, I'm going to encourage you to pick it up, because he is a leading man in leadership. And many, many great companies follow his leadership programs. And so all of his books are excellent. And you know what I really like about him? He used to be a pastor. So he does incorporate God's word into his thinking as well, which I absolutely love. And he's a well-versed in the Bible. So, and we all know the best leader was Jesus. So we know that anything that we can learn about how Jesus led, that will help us be great leaders. All right. So in the beginning, I'm just going to start with some things that I have that I kind of marked out or highlighted. It says that the law of process on page, well, that's not a page, 5, I guess, with Roman numeral, the X in the very beginning, in the introduction. It says that leadership develops daily not in a day. Did anybody else like underline that circle and go, okay, so I'm not going to be a great leader all today. I can't like read this whole book and all of a sudden, boom, be this amazing leader in one day. So I love that when it says leadership develops daily, not in a day. So it's important that we read leadership books and get our minds focused in leadership books, because then we're working on what it means to be a great leader and what are those skills. It's like anything, you got to like exercise, just like you exercise, you know, your body, you have to exercise that leadership muscle as well. And it's not, you know, some people say leaders are born. I don't believe leaders are born. I believe leaders are made. I believe leaders are made. That as time goes on and as you grow and as you learn the skills of being a great leader, that's how you become a great leader, by always learning and growing. Okay, so it says, I love how he said he had that guy in the beginning, Bill Freeman. He's the president of Watkins Associated Industries, the largest privately owned trucking company in America. He's an excellent executive, and he's continually looking for ways to learn and grow. So that was you know, you hear about success leaves clues. So he's an excellent executive, owned the largest trucking company, and he's continually looking for ways to grow. That was like, aha, okay. So he's looking for ways to always learn and grow, even though he's already has a very successful company. And he told John that he says that he was reading the book, and each morning he reads a chapter of the book, and all through the day I think about that law. As I work, I look at myself and ask, how am I doing with this leadership law? I watch the people in our office, looking to see whether they practice it. I measure our whole company against it, observing, assessing, reflecting. Every morning it's a different law. It's an eye-opener. So I thought that was really, really cool to see that he and his team were practicing these leadership laws. So not only was he reading it, he welcomed his team to also read it together, to grow together, which I think is an awesome, awesome thing. Okay, it says everything rises on leadership, and leadership truly develops from the inside out. If you can become the leader you ought to be on the inside, you will be able to become the leader you want to be on the outside. People will want to follow you, and when that happens, you'll be able to tackle anything in this world. Does anybody else have anything about the introduction that stood out to you that you underlined, highlighted before we dive into chapter 1?
I kind of just felt like in the beginning where I talked about, like, I try so hard, you know, to be the best leader that I can be. And I find that sometimes I feel like I'm disappointing myself if I don't feel like I'm producing enough. And then so that like hit home for me, because I was like, I am good enough, and it can't happen overnight. Like, I have to just take it day by day. And knowing that, you know, I have to continually be personally growing in personal development if I'm going to expect my team to do the same. And like, I have to help to teach them to learn and grow. And then, you know, like, as far as this business, you know, then like the volume will come, you know?
That's very, very good. And we aren't going to be perfect. That's the absolute truth there. And a lot of times we do think, well, I'm not enough. And then that's devil talk. I am enough. You know what I mean? I am working towards awesome leadership. You know, just, I don't know if I put it in that thread with you guys, but I will make sure to give you that thread. I listened to a really awesome sermon last night about not speaking about your mountains. Like, if your mountain is, I don't feel I'm good enough, or I feel like I'm always in debt, or I feel like I can't get a loyal customer or distributor. And this gentleman, this pastor that spoke that I just listened to last night, he says, don't just talk about your mountains, speak to your mountains. So I love when he said that, because he says, you know, if you've got debt, then you say, debt be gone. You know what I mean? You speak to the mountain just like the Lord spoke to the wind and the storms. The wind be done, storms be done. He says if God spoke to his mountains, those issues, to a sickness, to whatever those kinds of things are, then we should be speaking to those mountains too. Not just speaking about them, but speak to them. You know, in the name of Jesus, remove this whatever this mountain is out of my life. And we can speak that way because we have Jesus in us. The Holy Spirit lives in us. So I love that, Becky. That was a really, really great point. Anybody else for that? Otherwise, we'll go right into chapter 1. All righty, let's pop right into chapter 1 then. Character. Chapter 1 is about character. Be a piece of the rock. Leadership is the capacity and will to rally men and women to a common purpose and the character which inspires confidence. Oh, man. This is a really great topic, character. So then in the very beginning, he's talking about smaller airports, flown on a Lear jet. And then he talks about the man who invented them. And this is when he's talking about character. So he invented them, but then there was a problem with the aircraft. And it had crashed under mysterious circumstances. And he was devastated. So instead of, this inventor just saying, well, whatever, he actually immediately sent word to all the owners to ground their planes until he and his team could determine what had caused the crashes. The thought that more lives might be lost was far more important to him than any adverse publicity that action might generate in the media. So that is talking about character, doing the right thing, no matter what's happening. Grounding the plane cost Lear a lot of money. So this is going to cost him a lot of money to do this. And it planted seeds of doubt in the minds of potential customers. As a result, he needed 2 years to rebuild the business. 2 years. But Lear never regretted his decision. He was willing to risk his success, his fortune, and even his life to solve the mystery of those crashes, but not his integrity. And that takes character. Does anybody have anything to say about that? That you wrote anything down about that?
I don't want to be the only one talking, but I loved that chapter because to me, it spoke a lot about, running your business with integrity. Mm-hmm. Running your business with integrity. Like, to me, that was, don't just tell people, like, don't just get them hyped up and tell them it's going to do this or it's going to do that, because what if the product doesn't work for them? Like, you have to run your business with integrity and know that not everything is going to work the same for everybody. So you just have to be honest and open with them, and our customers are going to appreciate that, and it's going to show them what our character is, and that they're going to want to continue to do business with us, and in return, they're going to refer business to us in the same sense.
That's good. Anybody have anything to say about that? I think everybody's still sleeping.
Well, I was thinking that's kind of a good example for us. Like, it's not just about the money. Lear guy, it's not just about his business. He wasn't worried about just making money. And so we can use that in our business as in, like, it's not just about making the sale. Like, you're going to need this product and this product, but actually asking the customer and knowing your customer enough to recommend the products for them. So even if it's not going to be something that is a bigger sale or something, you're getting them on the right product for them. So that's kind of how we can use that example.
Mm-hmm. That's very good. And, not saying, well, you really need all this groups of products when really their budget says, I only really honestly can afford $50 a month. And you're trying to upsell them to something way more expensive. That's integrity. That's looking out for the customer more than the sale. Because I believe when you keep the person, you get the person right, your business will be right. And I know Cammie said that many times. Get the people right, and the business will all fall into place. And always be looking out for their best interest. So I love that. That's a great, great, great point, Tessie. It says on page 4 about character. I loved this one. We should almost have this written down in front of us. Crisis doesn't necessarily make character, but it certainly does reveal it. Isn't that amazing? Adversity is a crossroads that makes a person choose one of two paths, character or compromise. Every time he chooses character, he becomes stronger, even if that choice brings negative consequences. As Nobel Prize winning author Alexander, however you say his last name, noted, the meaning of earthly existing lies not as we have grown used to thinking in prospering, but in the development of the soul. The development of character is at the heart of our development, not just as leaders, but as human beings. What must every person know about character? And then it goes through all of these things. So this is where the guy in the beginning says, I read about this and then I practiced this skill throughout the day. So even though we're going to be reading this, every 3 chapters every week, they said, or the gentleman said in the beginning, he would just read a chapter and then practice it for a while. And then when he mastered it, he'd move on to the second. So maybe some of these things, you want to copy and put up somewhere on your, in front of you so that you can remember that you're practicing and really conquering these awesome skills. So character is more than talk. Anyone can say that he has integrity, but action is the real indicator of character. Your character determines who you are. Who you are determines what you see. What you see determines what you do. That's why you can never separate a leader's character from his actions. If a leader's actions and intentions are continually working against each other, then look to his character to find out why. Number 2, talent is a gift, but character is a choice. We have no control over a lot of things. We don't get to choose our parents. We don't select the location and circumstances of our birth and upbringing. We don't get to pick our talents or IQ, but we do choose our character. In fact, we create it every time we make choices to cop out or dig out of a hard situation, to bend the truth or stand under the weight of it, to take the easy money or pay the price. As you live your life and make choices today, you are continuing to create your character. Hey, Lisa! Are you outside?
So cold.
Are you outside, Lisa?
Oh, am I muted? Maybe I'm muted.
No, you're unmuted. Are you outside?
I am. Well, I'm in the garage, but it's cold.
John was just swimming last night,
Yeah, I know. I was not.
I mean, the pool is a little bit chillier than I would be in it, but I mean, it's still nice. So, okay. Anybody have anything to say about that? Talent, or talent is a gift, but character is a choice.
I liked this. I liked everything so far, but it is. And you really see people's true colors when they are put in a position of stress on what their gut reaction is. Mm-hmm. And, from people I've worked with in the past, some people, they get angry or they get defensive or any of those things. But then there's others who it's always, what can I do to help? What can I do to fix this? And that's the kind of person I always want to be.
Isn't that awesome? I love that. Problem solver. Someone to say, how can we, this situation's going on, but how can we turn this around and, work towards an answer or a solution for that? Okay, awesome. Character brings lasting success with people. So true leadership always involves other people. As the leadership proverb says, if you think you're leading and no one is following you, then you're only taking a walk. Followers do not trust leaders whose character they know to be flawed, and they will not continue following them. Number 4, leaders cannot rise above the limitations of their character. Have you ever seen highly talented people suddenly fall apart when they achieved a certain level of success? The key to that phenomenon is character. Stephen Berglas, a psychologist at Harvard Medical School and author of The Success Syndrome, says that people who achieve great heights but lack the bedrock character to sustain them through the stress are headed for disaster. He believes they are destined for one or more of the 4 A's: arrogance, painful feelings of aloneness, destructive adventure seeking, or adultery. Each is a terrible price to pay for weak character. Okay, and then let's move on where it talks about your character, and if you have any issues, it's saying that you should address those issues and seek even professional help. Don't think that the valley you're in will pass with time, more money, or increased prestige. Unaddressed cracks in character only get deeper and more destructive with time. Anybody have anything to say about that before we move into chapter 2? About the cracks and working in those areas. It really made me think. I was like, okay. Do I have any of those 4 A's that I need to address? Because then it even says, search for those. Spend time looking at major areas of your life, work, marriage, family, service. Anywhere you might have cut corners, compromised, or let people down. Write down every instance you can recall from the past 2 months. Look for patterns that you have weakness, or that you have a type of problem that keeps surfacing. It says facing the music. Create a list of people to whom you need to apologize for your actions and follow through with sincere apologies. Rebuild. It's one thing to face up to your actions. It's another to build a new future. Now that you've identified any areas of weakness, create a plan that will prevent you from making the same mistakes again. Okay, let's jump into chapter 2. Lisa, you're frozen. Is it breaking in and out, guys? Is the Zoom going in and out? Is it a little bit? Oh, I don't know what's going on with my internet. No matter how much I'm like, okay, how can we get this to not do this or whatever, it still breaks up. Okay, let's go into chapter 2. Anybody want to start? So this is talking about characters, chapter 1. Charisma is chapter 2. How can you have charisma? I love this. Be more concerned about making others feel good about themselves than you are making them feel good about you. Who wants to talk about this? I've said enough. So who wants to talk about chapter 2? What did you write down? What did you highlight? Go ahead, Jenny.
All right. For chapter 2, I took away 3 things. I guess this is the way you're doing it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You do it however you want to do it.
Okay. I took away 3 things from the chapter. Charisma, the ability to draw people to you. Attract the people who you enjoy being with. And hope is the greatest of all possessions. Those are the 3 things that I guess the whole thing with charisma, I wasn't understanding it until I read that it is the ability to draw people to you, which made sense once I started reading it. And then the attracting people that you enjoy being with, which was another big thing that stood out for me. And then as far as the greatest of all possession being hope, that was the other thing that stood out for me into this chapter.
I love it. And I was like, what is charisma? What exactly is charisma? Because you see people who have it. Like you see people who have that specialness about them that people are just drawn to them. And you're like, what is it? What is it exactly that they're doing? And then I realized as I was reading this chapter, charisma is all about highlighting other people. It's about when you're with people, it's all about taking the focus off yourself and putting it on them. I loved when they said, they gave it, at the end of chapter 2, she said, remember, when a guest, so it says the gal was able to get people to come over to her parties all the time. Pearl Mesta, page 13, the greatest Washington hostess since Dolly Madison, was asked the secret of her success in getting so many rich and famous people to attend her parties. All right, we're in the party plan business, right? We do have, we have wrap parties. And she said, it's all in the greetings and goodbyes. When a guest arrived, she met him saying, "At last, you're here." And as each left, she said, "I'm so sorry you have to leave so soon." So what did she do? She made people feel extremely, extremely special, like wanted and sad when they were leaving her presence. So who else has anything to say with that? I love what you said, Jenny, about charisma. How about the story in the beginning, guys? It was the 2 government people. What did you think about that? Where it said the lady dined with the 2 rival statesmen on consecutive nights. This is page 10. This is such a good point at the top. When asked her impression of them, she said, "When I left the dining room after sitting next to Mr. Gladstone, I thought he was the cleverest man in England. But after sitting next to Mr. Disraeli, I thought I was the cleverest woman in England." Do you notice the difference? One spoke all about themselves and they're awesome what they've achieved. Oh, I've done this, I've done that. And a person just sits there and goes, wow, you're amazing. I could never be you. The other guy spoke all about her and gave her compliments and probably was wowed by what she had to say and took mental notes of her and what she's done. And she felt like the queen. Do you notice the difference? That's charisma. Not yourself, highlighting other people, put them in the spotlight, make them feel that they matter, their story matters. So I love that. I mean, that's something I've read many times in different leadership books, to get yourself out of the way and put another person in the spotlight. That's true leadership, helping them bring out the good stuff, the good qualities in them. Before they see it, you see it. Because that's really what inspires. I mean, think of when you've been encouraged over your lifetime, whether it was a coach or your mom or your dad or whoever else in your life that spoke such awesome things about you, and you just stood up a little taller and you put your chin up a little bit, a little bit higher, and you felt like you're on top of the world. That was charisma. That person characterized charisma. Anybody have anything to say about that? And how can you do that? Now, when you think about that, how can you do that in every conversation you have? Ask yourself, how did I do in that conversation? Did I talk a lot about myself, or did I ask a lot of questions and allowed them to speak a lot about themselves and complimented them and encouraged them and spoke about some great things that they have inside of them? Did you love page 10? When it talks about people with charisma, they love life. They put a 10 on every person's head. So every person you talk about, you think about them being the most, the best. But I love when it said loving life. When you set yourself on fire, like you love life so much, people love to come and see you burn. People want to follow someone who is excited and passionate about life. So that I love that. So these are things that I'm going to print off and put in front of me that I can remember. Loving life, putting a 10 on every person's head. And that also attracts them to you. If you expect the best of them, to expect the best of them, I call it putting a 10 on everyone's head. It helps others think more highly of themselves. And at the same time, it also helps you. A survey of 100 self-made millionaires showed only one common denominator. These highly successful men and women could only see the good in people. Isn't that amazing? So I don't think when they say self-made, it's self-made millionaires are people that have brought the best out in others and helped them become successful. And that's how they became successful. How many of you heard John Maxwell say, or Zig Ziglar say, help enough other people get what they want and you will get what you want? So look for ways to pull out those strengths. Show them before they even know that you are made for this. You got this. You can do this. And by helping people become successful in this business we're talking, and it could be anything, you will, in fact, get where you want to go as you help others bring that 10, that level 10 out in them. And I love Jenny. Yes, give people hope. Like all great leaders, Bonaparte, he knew that hope is the greatest of all possessions. If you can be the person who bestows that gift on others, they will be attracted to you and they will be forever grateful. Do we have hope to share with people with our business?
Yes.
In the biggest way. The two things that people struggle with the most are health and weight loss issues, and the second is money. And we offer hope in both of those areas. We are the life preserver. We are the life preserver that's thrown out of the boat to the person who's drowning. That's us. That's what we offer. We offer hope. So love, Jenny, that you mentioned that. So when it comes to charisma, the bottom line, write this down, is other-mindedness. Not self-mindedness, other-mindedness. Leaders who think about others and their concerns before thinking of themselves exhibit charisma. And it was so good when it says how to improve your charisma, change your focus, play the first impression game, learn the person's name. Man, I read that before. Don't forget a person's name. When you get to know them, just say it in your head 1,000,000 times and keep saying in the conversation, their name, their name, their name. People want to hear their name. I read that, a whole chapter about that. Don't forget people's names. which that's something I need to definitely work on. And share yourself, provide resources to help others. Like if you know there's an awesome sermon that you've gotten, share it with someone. If there was a piece of information that you're like, man, it really changed my life, make sure to send it as a text or send it on to somebody and say, this really helped me. I wonder if this could help you. So always be looking for ways to improve other people's lives, not just your own. Anything else to chapter 2, guys? We're going to quickly go through chapter 3. That's a good chapter, wasn't it? Charisma. Okay, let's go right on to chapter 3, commitment. So we talked about character for chapter 1. We talked about charisma, chapter 2. Now we're going to talk about commitment. Okay, so I love this chapter. People do not follow uncommitted leaders. So right on page 15 in the beginning there. People do not follow uncommitted leaders. Commitment can be displayed in a full range of matters to include the work hours you choose to maintain, how you work to improve your abilities, or what you can do for your fellow workers at personal sacrifice. Okay, who has any comments or highlights for chapter 3 when we're talking about commitment? Because when you apply this to your own business, you know what I mean? Go ahead, Jenny.
All right. The 3 things I took from it, the whole chapter, is, let me see, to be an effective leader, you have to be committed. The only real measure of commitment is action. And if you want to get anywhere worthwhile, you must be committed.
Oh man, isn't that funny? I love that. So commitment is action. And do we know in this business, the only way that we get paid is by signing loyal customers and distributors. And the only way that we can do that is by opening our mouth and doing what they say, blitzing, rapping, repeating, and messaging and sharing and being that open store, because people can't buy from a store that isn't open. If your mouth is not open, people don't know you have a business. So, and your team is watching you. So for those of you that have team already, or team that isn't quite here yet, but they're watching you, Facebook, that's your team. They're just not here yet, right? They're watching you. They're seeing your level of commitment. If you waver, if you're sort of on and you're sort of off and you sort of, speak positive things, but then you sort of speak negative things, people are like, is she all in? Can I follow her? Does she have credibility, integrity, all those things? So I love that really commitment is just action. It's taking daily action on your business. Anybody else?
I really liked on page 19 when that judge, made his acceptance speech about, I wish to thank the 424 people who promised to vote for me. I wish to thank the 316 who said they did vote for me. I wish to thank the 47 people who actually came out Thursday to vote, and I wish to thank the 26 people who actually did vote for me. So it was just interesting how the kept dwindling, down, and how that, commitment to follow through is really big, not just on the front end, but even on the back end of that, is how I kind of took that is, if you're going to say you're going to do something, then follow through with it. And then it just kind of reminded me too, like, okay, if I say it, if, a couple people say they're going to follow through, they might not actually, do it. So the numbers really, spoke to me. So that was really after.
That's very good. And I love, Stephanie, when it said on page 18, to the boxer, it's getting off the mat one more time than you've been knocked down. To the marathoner, it's running another 10 miles when your strength is gone. To the soldier, it's going over the hill not knowing what's waiting on the other side. To the missionary, it's saying goodbye to your own comfort to make life better for others. To the leader, it's all that and more, because everyone you lead is depending on you. I thought that was so very, very good. If you want to be an effective leader, you have to be committed. True commitment inspires and attracts people. It shows them that you have conviction. And I love this. I highlighted this. They will believe in you only if you believe in your cause. Did you hear that? They will believe in you only if you believe in your cause. As a law of buy-in states, people buy into the leader, then the vision. So doesn't that make you just think, oh my goodness, I mean, when I read that, I'm like, I need to raise my level of commitment times 10. Like, I need to be making live videos every day on products and how much I believe in these products and how they work and what they've done for me. You know what I mean? Like, that just made me think, oh my goodness, my level of commitment needs to be times 10. People need to know without a shadow of a doubt that I am all in with it works. And that I'm not wavering, that I'm not saying, well, things aren't good here, I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm going to jump ship. No, I'm fully committed here. No matter what's going on, I believe wholeheartedly in these products, wholeheartedly in this team, and I'm leading a group of people. So I love that. And when it said on page 19, commitment starts in the heart. Did you love when it said at the Kentucky Derby, the winning horse effectively runs out of oxygen after the first half mile, and he goes the rest of the way on heart? Did you guys read that and go, oh my goodness, that is amazing? Page 19 after number 1. NBA legend Michael Jordan explains the heart is what separates the good from the great. If you want to make a difference in other people's lives as a leader, look into your heart to see if you're really committed. That's good stuff. Okay, who else has stuff? We're going to finish up here. On chapter 3, on commitment. Anything that you have in page 19, 20, 21, or 22, the last 4 pages.
Well, I just know, like, at the very end when it's talking about bringing it home, I always like the parts of this at the end of the chapter where it always kind of makes you think a little bit more about reflecting on it. I've never been able to actually do that with the book, so I like these parts. And then the second one where he's like, know what's worth dying for. I mean, if you're 100% or more committed to something, then you know that's kind of like what you're willing to die for right there. So it kind of just makes you think of like, well, I'm definitely not that committed to something, and so I need to figure out how I can be, or which different things are that important to me that as a why as to being committed in my business that way.
That's awesome. I like that. That's really, really good. And it is true, you know, and spend some time alone meditating on that thought. Write down what you discover, then see if your actions match your ideals. Yeah, because in the end of the day, it's so crazy. It is. We are where we are is because we believe that's where we should be. Does that make sense? Like if you're at the level where you're at, it's because you've decided that. No one else has. You know what I mean? So that's what's crazy. You have the power in you to say, you know, I'm diamond, I'm double, and now my actions are going to line up. My commitment level is going to line up with where I want to be. So you have to check that, and that's why we're doing personal development. We're growing. We're exercising that confidence mindset muscle that all of us have to do to grow in, to know that we are worth that. We are worth, you know, the diamond, the double diamond, the triple diamond, the presidential. So we're growing into that to know that we have the power to do that. So it's really a choice every single day, where we want to go, how many we're going to talk to, you know, what businesses we're going to pop into, what conversations we're going to have with people, you know, who's on our chicken list that we've been putting off. And now it's time to finally just ask and do it today and don't delay on that. So excuse me, page 22, I have an arrow by use the Edison method. I remember Sarah Zart said something about that in her notes in our little, because she wasn't able to get on with her run this morning. Use the Edison method. If taking the first step toward commitment is a problem, try doing what Thomas Edison did. When he had a good idea for an invention, he would call a press conference to announce it. Then he'd go into his lab and invent it. Make your plans public, and you might be more committed to following through with them. So make them public. Let a lot of people know. Like I remember when we were thinking about moving, we would just kind of share it with people. Like we're thinking about moving, just privately talking to people. We're thinking about moving. And we said it so many times that it was like, we need to follow through with what we've said. And so we put up the for sale sign, and then we hired a professional realtor, and the house sold. So isn't it something like you're throwing it out there? I want to be diamond. I'm going for diamond, and I want to grab that $10,000 bonus by this month, you know, whatever that month looks like for you. And you throw it out there enough and you make it public, and then you start putting that action into place so that you can make that, what you've thrown out there, that commitment level, come true. Okay, any last thoughts, guys? This was really good. Any last thoughts as we close out here?
Message I got from the first 3 chapters was probably in the last chapter that we read, simply because it was like, you know, when it was comparing, you know, the athletes and the soldier and all that stuff, like, just when you think that you can't do anymore, you know, it goes back to I think it was last month when Mark was, you know, saying just one more message, just one more blitz, just one more rap, just get one more rap on someone. Hard, you know, just do that one more thing because you're just right on the edge, like you're about to go, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And something's gonna give, like you just have to keep going for it, because that's how, I don't know, without trying to sound like a I don't know, weirdo, but that's how winners win. I mean, you know, and you have to go for it. You have to be willing to put in the work and know that even if you feel exhausted and, you know, you've messaged out to, you know, 500 people, just do it one more time, and then it turns into, okay, just one more time, and you keep going, and eventually you're gonna reap what you sow.
Right. Yeah, it's dependent on your belief level and your commitment level, and it goes back to that Tony Robbins, if you guys remember me, that little 4-corner thing where everybody has potential. You come into this business, you have potential, but people believe they come in with limited potential. When you come in with a half potential, not a full, like I have unlimited potential, that will definitely go into that second box, where that will depend on how much action you take, depending on how much belief level, potential level you think you have. And it just kind of cycles around, you know, the belief, the action you take, the results you do or don't get because of your belief and the action you took. And it just goes around and around and around and around. So if everybody believes I have full potential, unlimited potential, there's no lid on me, then we will get up and we will take the action required, knowing that we have unlimited potential. So that's awesome. I love that. All right, guys, this was awesome. It went a little bit longer, but we didn't start till almost 10 in. It was like 7:40 my time, 9:40, 10:40 your guys' times. So this was awesome. Thanks for joining me with these first 3 chapters. So we will do the next 3 chapters for next Saturday. So again, just write down some things. Thanks for taking time. Lisa, you want to say something, honey?
Yeah, sorry, I had to jump off. There was a lady at the garage sale. She just came and bought like $80 worth of clothes that were priced at $1.50.
Oh my goodness!
I got a big chunk of my stuff gone.
That's awesome.
Yes, and this book, I'm loving it so far, and I'm glad that we did and discuss it with other people and get their opinions and views. It makes a lot more sense to me. So
good. I'm so excited for you guys. I mean, you guys are the ones that decided, you know what, to be a better leader, I got to grow. I got to learn and grow. And so I love that you're doing it with me. I really appreciate that. And it's way more fun to learn and grow together than it is by yourself. So I thought, you know what, this is a book that's been sitting on my shelf. I haven't dove into it. Let's start here. And we can continue to do this. Like, we'll just choose the next book or whatever, and we'll just keep moving because we want to grow. So
yes.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yes, and thank you very much for the book too.
Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm just honored you guys want to grow together with me. So you guys just think of those 3 things. We talked about character, charisma, and what's the last one?
Commitment.
Commitment. So again, use this week to really think back to what we just learned about, and make sure and I am too, you're mastering those skills, because this is this is the 21 indispensable qualities of a leader. If you want to be an amazing leader and start attracting people who are at higher levels of leadership into your business, people who are higher professions, You know, people who are at, you know, executive levels, those kinds of things, you want to raise your leadership level so you attract those kind of people into your business. People who are already of those mindsets, because can you imagine what your business will look like when you're attracting people who already have these kind of principles and these skills already that they're working on themselves? Just brings a whole nother level to your business. So, and your team will get better because you're getting better as well. So you guys have an awesome day. God's blessings on your day. Enjoy your weekend, and we shall meet again next Saturday. Okay?
Thanks, Liz.
Thank you guys. Love you all. Love you all.